I just got back from my first viewing of Rampage, and I've got to say, it was better than I expected. When we first got an announcement trailer and things like that, I honestly was that guy and said, this is going to be stupid. Normally, any video game adaptation is dumb, and I thought this movie for sure would have been like... I thought it'd be worse than Pacific Rim Uprising, and I thought Pacific Rim Uprising was pretty bad. But it actually shocked me, and, well, I wanted to come home and do a review. It's about 2 a.m., so let's get this started here. Unscripted, on everything. Let's just do it. This isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work either. Let's just let's go to Google here. Let's type in Rampage poster. Something good here. Look at that. Save that. Look at that. So yeah, I'm just using OBS just to use my webcam, recording my desktop, because I wanted to get some type of video out on this movie and some content on my channel. I'm going to do this unscripted. This is my first viewing, first reaction, I guess. And I just want to share my first thoughts on the film before I go back and watch it a second time with Rayanne or a friend or whoever. So I think we're just going to jump right in. I don't want this video to be too long because, like I said, it's just going to be unedited, maybe edited a little bit, but like nothing too big. I just want to get a video up. Okay, yeah, so the only thing that I really dislike, I'm going to start with the dislikes first before I just jump into the likes. Cons. The Rock is basically the Rock that you'll see in every other movie. Like, I think The Rock just plays himself, and like, I kind of want to call it like Rocksploitation. It's like, we literally saw a trailer for a Rock movie before this movie screened. It was for, what's it called, one movie where he loses his leg and decides to just break the laws of physics and jump buildings. I don't know. Does he rest? I think, like, literally he just... I don't get how someone can make... It reminds me of Sam Jackson in a way, but I kind of have a soft spot for Sam Jackson. He was in so many movies, but, like, I like him. After a while, like... Okay, The Rock, he's a good actor. They're good actors. A lot of people are good actors, but, like... I feel like I get bored of seeing the same person over and over and over and over again, but, whatever. He didn't bring the film down. He's who you expect him to be, basically. Another thing that a lot of people would probably not like about this movie is the fact that they changed the origin stories of the monsters, which I was completely okay with. Basically, in the games, they just run around and eat people, and they were mutated people. But I feel like that would have been dumb. There would have been too many origins for each monster, and it would have been slow. So basically what they did is, it was a chemical that they developed to help, engineer DNA or something like that? I don't know. And, that's how the monsters originate. And I thought that was pretty okay. It was alright. Whatever. One thing this film did really well for me was its pacing. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said from time to time it got a little boring, and I can see that. But overall, I felt pretty engaged. I didn't find any of the story elements too dull. There were a few parts here and there where I was kind of waiting for the monster action, but at the same time, I want to say there was more than enough monster action, because this puts out more action than you would have seen in 2014. I think the monsters had more screen time than Kong did in Skull Island, and this is a movie that I went into with absolutely no expectations at all. I just wanted to watch it for what it was, which is literally just monsters beating the hell out of each other, and that's that's pretty much what you get with this movie. It's popcorn entertainment. It's not Casablanca. It's The Rock with the giant albino ape fighting flying wolves. Like, if you wanted something more, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. Go watch another movie. Now, sorry if this film review seems kind of mundane or dumb or not thought out. Like I said, this is unscripted, and I've wanted to do reviews of films for a while, but I just never really had the time or, like, I guess the desire. I don't want to say desire because I want to do it, but, like, you know, I wake up and I'm just like, the characters are pretty okay. The humor was toned down a bit. I was afraid going into it there'd be too much, like, stupid gags and things like that to make people laugh, because that's what a lot of these Rock movies do. But I thought the humor was pretty okay. Like, it was enough to get a chuckle out of me. Normally I don't laugh at stuff like that, but where he taught George how to flip people off, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of chuckled, but I didn't, like, laugh out loud or anything like that. The humor I didn't really have a problem with. One thing that I'd like to give the film credit for is its CG. I thought the CG was really, really well done. It looked really polished. Except for a few times, I think, where I spotted a vehicle or something that looked kind of like a little too CG, but for the most part, I think it looked really well. And, you know, nowadays we're obviously not getting any practical effects anywhere, so this is all you're going to see, and it can only get better, so I've pretty much just accepted it. And, you know, I liked it. It, like The Rock's interactions with George, which is the ape, they seemed pretty genuine. He really, I thought, you know, I felt like he was really there, personally. He did a pretty good job acting with either someone who was screen capping, or I think it was just nothing. So, good job to them for that. Like I said before, there's a lot of monster action. It keeps the pace going really well from early on in the movie until the end. It does it a lot better than, you know, for example, Go-Go 2014 here, or even Skull Island. I don't want to dive too deep into a review. I just want to talk about my initial reaction, so maybe if this type of thing does well, I'll go back, watch it a few more times, and then put out a full, in-depth review on how I feel about the movie and go deeper into its plot elements and things like that. Like I said, I just want to get a kind of a reaction video. Well, it's not a reaction video, it's just like my personal feelings about this movie. I'm just gonna say it's good. You should go see it. I think, you know, if I had to give it anything, I think I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. I mean, it's popcorn entertainment, you know. I kind of felt like how I felt when I first saw Pacific Rim when I was like 13. You know, in Pacific Rim, I think took itself a little more seriously than this film did, but it was still like, at its core, it was just monsters fighting robots, which this one is just monsters fighting monsters. So, you know, for what it's worth, go see it. I think we're in this kind of kaiju renaissance, and whatever gets dished out, I think we should feel appreciative for, because before these movies, no one really cared. I mean, I'm not speaking for myself when I say this, because I'm younger, so I kind of grew up when Godzilla and everything was kind of kicking back into the norm. But for a lot of the adults, I guess, there was a period where kaiju films just weren't relevant over here, and now they're starting to kind of gain popularity. Not massive popularity, but enough to, you know, pump out a movie every year or two, which is really, really neat, I think. So yeah, I think this video went worse than I imagined. But, like, you know, it was good. You should go see it. I recommend it. I really loved it. George was cool. You know, Ralph was kind of cool. The name came out of nowhere. It was kind of stupid. He said, like, oh, the internet people are starting to call him Ralph. So, like, there was no real origin story for that name. I don't think the word Lizzie is ever said. So, that monster doesn't get mentioned. Oh, I also want to mention, I really love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I could feel a little bit of his Negan slipping into it, but I've liked him in movies before this, and I liked him before The Walking Dead. So, that's one of the reasons why I was more engaged, is because I really like him as an actor. Maybe to some people who don't know of him or don't watch him, that's maybe where they started to fall off of things. But, I love seeing him act. And like I said, The Rock was pretty good. All the side roles were good. Another thing I want to say before I quit this video is I think some of the references to other things were kind of stupid. Like, in the bad guy's, office building, there's a Rampage arcade cabinet. So, I guess the Rampage, the game, exists in this world, and just conveniently it happens to be the monsters from the game that get mutated. I don't know, I thought it was kind of too out there, I thought it was kind of stupid, but, it's whatever. It was just in the background, so it's not that important. It was more of a reference or an homage to the game itself. I feel like I'm just dragging this video along at this point. I think you should go see it, man. Yeah, man, you should go see it. You should go see it, man. You should go see it. You should go see it, man. Come on. Come on, man. Just go see it. Just go see it.